Hey everyone, sorry my mic was muted. Listen, it's hot in Houston. They just turned on our AC again. So we've been in a whole what do you call it? It's just like it seems like every other week it's another hurricane or something happening. So just bear with me here. Um I wanted to come on here tonight. I'm sorry guys, something is happening with me and my struggle wig. Ciao. Yeah. I had to come on here and talk a little bit about how I was minding all of my own business. Okay. All of my own business. And then because I was playing spades on the internet. And then suddenly, I'm trying to get my life together. Okay. And then suddenly, oh, I said I was gonna use my microphone. Hold on. Last time it gave me better results. Oh, please. Where is this it? Uh-oh. Oh, please. No, I gotta get my life together. Sorry, All right, let's see. Oh, and then I think I gotta go change the settings. Texas doesn't understand. The weather doesn't care that we hot. Okay, they care not. Clearly, they don't care that we hot. They don't. Um, but again, hit the like button, guys. If this is your first time joining me here on Chanel's Reality, welcome. Happy to have you here. Please comment below on any of the topics, whether you agree or disagree with me. And then let me just say everything on Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel, and this is my reality. Is alleged, and in my opinion, and if I have people on the panel or in the chat and things like that, it's all in their opinion too. Okay, got it. So I did just want to come on here and talk about what is happening in the world right now. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat if you want to participate in the panel. So, like I said, I was around here minding my own business, playing spades on the internet, beating the brakes off of people, okay? And by the way, if you're at the cookout, okay, and if someone says to you, do you know how to play spades? Your only answer is yes. It ain't no, I tried that one time, I'm not good at it. No, all of those things are in the no category, okay? They're in the I don't know how to play spades category. If it isn't yes, and we got to, then it's no. It ain't no maybe. We don't play those type of games at the cookout. Okay. Especially if they didn't bring enough for the peach cobbler with the extra crust. We don't play those type of games. Or they ran out of the good sausage. Nope. Nope. You can't play. But anyway, yeah. So I was over there. I'm being lighthearted now because the topic tonight is not lighthearted. It is very heavy and trigger warning for people who may have experienced any type of violence in their household or towards them or anything like that. We're going to be talking about the pow pow or pew pew is what I'll say for the word that we can't say, right? Or words that we can't say. Um, so there was a attempt, or it's been reported. Let me say it like that. It's been reported that there was a attempt on former President Donald Trump's life at one of his rallies. I didn't even know he was having a rally. And if I'm being honest, I used to be really into everything that was going on in the political world. I actually used to, I said when I remember when I was in college, I was like, in 2020, I'm going to run for senator, right? Because of course I want to go save the world. Um, but then, I had this conversation with my husband years ago, and I remember him saying, I support you, whatever you want to do, especially politically, because I felt like I want to change the foster care system and all these systems, right? And he was like, yeah, I support anything you want to do. I'll be here. You're rocking all of that. But when you're in politics, you have to give. You can't only get. And I'm paraphrasing what he said, but what he meant by that was if you want change that's going to impact, people that are underserved, right? Or people that are impoverished or people that are left at the bottom. So that would be like the homeless people, like I said, people in foster care sometimes, people that are in a uneducated, unemployed, whatever fill in the blank type of position they are in life. If you want to help those people, the other political players sometimes will play ball with you, right? But you got to give them something too. And you may not agree to having to give them something, because 9 times out of 10, if you have to persuade them to do what's right, like help children in foster care or help the impoverished people or the homeless population or end hunger, whatever, help our veterans. If you have to be persuaded, if you have to persuade these people to do what's right, that's going to bother your soul. And he's right. He was absolutely right. Because I could never be like, okay, well, if you agree to better education systems for the children growing up in some impoverished part of the city or every impoverished part of the city, then we can give some super high tax break to the 1% who are extremely wealthy. I can't do it. Why are we giving tax breaks and loopholes and all this type of stuff to people who are already winning just so the people at the bottom can get the bare minimum? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I wouldn't be able to do it. And I know that I wouldn't. So I probably would be somewhere, because I'm a bleeding heart liberal. It just is what it is. It's how I'm what's the right word? Wired. I'm wired to help people. I'm not wired to be vicious or to be psychotic or to be a person who just has no empathy. I try my best. I don't always get it right, but I try my best to be well-rounded in my viewpoint, right? Yes, it's going to be difficult to drag me to your side. I'm not, listen, I'm a little bit of a rebel, so you're not going to get me over there just because you said something. It's not the way you're going to get me over there. Right. So I remember him talking to me about that. And because I always wanted to change the system from the inside out, because I always felt like that's the best way to do it. You got to be in power. You got to be at the table, right? In order to make some changes to the table. So anyways, I wanted to come on here today and talk about, like I said, what happened with Donald Trump today. So let me just go on here. ABC News is reporting that at a Trump rally, there was a pow pow during the rally. Biden spoke with Trump White House officials, and they say that the president was taken to the hospital and is fine. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. Okay.
Now, with Secret Service, he's being escorted into his vehicle. This was a chaotic moment that just played out right here in Pennsylvania. People running and rushing to the ground as they heard those apparent shots fired.
Then pandemonium, thousands of people running for cover. Tonight, the Trump campaign releasing a statement saying the former president is fine and being checked out at a local medical facility. Donald Trump Jr. telling ABC News he spoke to his father, who remains in the hospital, and described Trump as in good spirits, saying he remains under observation.
Just hours ago, this area was lined with Trump supporters. They entered that tent right there to be screened by Secret Service, going through metal detectors, their belongings tested. Now, this is a space where you have Trump supporters that are leaving panicked and confused as Secret Service agents rush us out of this area and back to our cars.
Tonight, the crowd still in disbelief.
Tell me what you saw and what you heard. You said you heard the popping sounds when you got down.
First you think like maybe firecrackers, but it continued, and then somebody else get down. We got down, and we huddled, and we started praying.
Tonight, local officials telling ABC News sounds were in fact gunshots.
Wow.
Rounds fired from a rooftop adjacent to the venue outside the security perimeter. Tonight, law enforcement recovering an AR-style rifle. This is being investigated as an attempted assassination. And tonight, the local district attorney telling ABC News at least one person is dead, and the shooter is dead as well. A law enforcement official briefed on the investigation tells us this image is believed to show the suspected gunman on the roof. Tonight, President Biden addressing the nation.
I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it.
And moments ago, former President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social, thanking the Secret Service, saying, "I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person who was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act could take place in our country. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America."
And Rachel Scott is back with us now. She was there at that rally in the beginning. She is still there now. Rachel, you've talked to a number of witnesses, but I also want...
Wow. That's a lot. Woo. Listen, let me be clear. I'm not a fan of 45 in any capacity. However, there is no place, in my opinion, for this type of violence. There's no place for violence in politics or really any area of our lives, whether it be at work, at home, in our communities, schools, whatever. There's no place for it. It's beyond. I don't know why people think they need to do this. And here's the thing, like for me, listen, the past after Biden, I just kind of felt like ignorance is bliss, you know, and I hate that. I hate to say that, but it is. It's like, I just don't want to be involved. I know you have to be involved, right? And we all should be involved, but sometimes you just need a mute. You just need to mute it. It's kind of like having to mute social media. Sometimes you just got to mute it. I just needed a break from it all. And honestly, since I've had that break, I've been good. Right. And I've been hearing people and, you know, I don't click on it because I just don't care. I'm just like, I know it's going to annoy me. And so therefore I'm just like, But then, like I told you guys earlier, I was just minding my business, playing spades on the internet. And, you know, when you play on the internet, a lot of times you'll see people just doing things to kind of like, they're like little trolls, right? So they'll come on there and they'll name themselves Trump is God, or, you know, something inflammatory, right? And to me, it's just to bait you into a conversation. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. So in the middle of the game, this lady, my partner, she says, prayers for Trump. And normally I'd be like, you know, rolling my eyes. And I probably did roll my eyes a little bit, and then I got intrigued, like, why is she saying prayers for Trump? So then I messaged her and was like, well, what happened? Did something happen or whatever? And she says, you know, he was pow-pow. They attempted to pow-pow him. And I was like, whoa. So then I was like, okay, let me look on the internet and let me just see if any of this is substantiated. And boom, it was just like boom, boom, boom. And I'm just like, what is happening in the world? What is going on? Because initially I thought this is a hoax. They just, you know, people out here. But sadly, it wasn't a hoax. And like I said, as much as I disagree with him politically, and I think in most areas of his life, he's a disgusting human being, he still deserves to say whatever he wants to say, rally, apply for the job as the president, and whatever else. He deserves to be able to do that without the threat of violence. Like, what is wrong with people? I can't understand it. You don't like him, so therefore you want to pow him? You need some help. And for all of the people that are going to go say, oh, this is mental health, and this doesn't have anything to do with people who are mentally ill. Yes, there are people out there that have psychotic breaks, and I'm not talking about those people, right? I'm saying you have to be very careful with labeling people. Because let's be clear, if you look at it statistically, people who are mentally ill are way more likely to have something terrible happen to them than the other way around. So let's just be very clear about that. Okay, before we go on and talk about mental health, no. Yes, whoever decided to do this is evil. This doesn't have to do with mental illness. You're evil. Period. That's all it is. That's the only way we can explain it. This doesn't have to do with people who are suffering from some sort of mental illness. I'm not talking about the people who have psychotic breaks and they lost their mind or whatever. I'm not talking about that. Yes, that can happen. But we're not going to lay this at the, footstool of the people who usually are the ones that are taken advantage of anyways. We're not going to do that. We're going to say when you are violently trying to attack someone with a pow-pow, you're an evil human being. Just is what it is. That's how I'm rocking over here on Chanel's Reality. I just don't play them type of games. I don't like the false narratives and the people wanting to justify this terrible behavior. It's disgusting, in my opinion. Oh, I'm looking for something. I didn't even know he was having a rally. Because again, like I said, I'm just over here minding my business. But I did want to have a conversation about it because it's being reported that he was, his ear is what was harmed. Let's just take a listen to what this lady has to say.
They did tell us to go back down again just in case. I think that was good because it helped calm people down. But I think one of the stands that I was next to, they did carry out a man, and there was another one that might have been injured. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely one at least. And on the other stand on the other side, because I was on the right, on the left, there were a bunch of men in uniform surrounding someone. So that was interesting to see.
You said that you were very impressed by the speed in which Secret Service was able to get on that stage within seconds of all of us hearing those popping sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a great job. I definitely felt protected in the situation. The sniper was on it watching on guard. Everyone on the scene like did a great job. I mean, like, of course it was like nerve wracking in the moment, but I never felt like I was like in danger, which was cool. They were on the president, which I'm very thankful of, and they did a great job like protecting him and getting him out as quick as possible. He is doing good, which is good. Yeah.
I'm the Republican nominee for the Senate in Pennsylvania. I was in the front row.
Okay, hold on, guys. I don't know if you guys can't see
announced
it.
me and said he was going to have.
Let me go and see real quick. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Okay. Can anyone hear me? All right, give me 1 second, guys.
Bleachers, probably 3 or 4 bleachers behind me. It looked like there was a man who was severely injured. There was a lot of blood, and his people around him were trying to administer first aid. And then the police, some police officers came in and carried him out, and presumably took him to get first aid. That's really all I could see. I don't know if there were other people injured, and I don't know if there was anybody apprehended, because as you might imagine, once that happened, the crowd was very chaotic, and it was very hard to know what was going on. And we're still there at the rally, just sitting trying to get out because the traffic is so backed up.
And Dave, your account seems to confirm some of this reporting that we're getting about a shooter and potential bystanders who were hurt. Just talk more about your initial reaction. I mean, seeing this, you're running for Senate in the state of Pennsylvania. You're about to walk up on the stage. You're getting introduced by the former president, and then you hear these shots ring out and the chaos in the crowd. What was going through your mind in that moment?
Well.
Okay, guys, I know, because I don't want to get, I don't want there to be a situation after this, after I film this or record this, where it's like, oh, you got to take your video down because you know, it gets like, what's the right word? Copywritten infringement or something like that. So I don't want to play too much all at one time, but I'm going to bring up Mr. Arias' video and see what he has to say. Hi, kind sir. How are you this evening?
Doing pretty well this evening. How about yourself?
I can't hear you. Are you saying something? If you are, I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm speaking. I can hear you. Hello?
I can't hear you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Maybe drop down and come back up because I can't hear anything you're saying. So let's take another listen to what's happening on the news. ABC News.
Conclusions before I know more about it, but obviously it's if you're a public official, if you're a presidential candidate, and your safety's at risk, that's scary for all of us, no matter what party you're in. And so I think it's a moment to take stock. And you had 15,000. It seemed it was a huge crowd. I was told by the law enforcement people there are 15,000 people who were enthusiastically supporting their candidate, and all of a sudden, the former president, his life is at risk, and what were peaceful people in the audience are wounded, potentially, fatally. I mean, that's unacceptable, and it's not a matter of party. That's just unacceptable in our great country.
I do want to go to Leonard Verdetto, who is an eyewitness who was there at the rally today. He's joining us now on the phone. Leonard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, Leonard. We're so grateful that you are okay. Can you just walk us through what happened and what you saw?
Sure, absolutely. So everybody was excited to see the former president coming out. You know, we were all, you know, excited, and you know, we were all happy. We were all joyful. You know, we were all there for each other. You know, and then the former president was giving his speech. Then moments later, there was some, you know, popping sounds that were going off. So about maybe 6 or 7 to 8 shots that were happening. None of us really registered at the time, but then all people were saying, "Get down, get down." Even I was saying, "Get down." Other people were saying, "Get down" as well. And, you know, we were all praying. We were praying to Yeshua, the Lord Jesus, and we were praying to him to keep us safe, keep us protected. But unfortunately, what happened was, you know, someone did get shot. What I do hear is that I think 2 people did get shot, you know, that to the best of my knowledge. And I believe that, you know, the former president, which I'm glad he is safe. So.
This is so tragic. What is wrong with people? All right, looks like Mr. Arias' video is back. Can you hear us, Mr. Arias' video?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
If you can hear us, I can't hear you. One second, let me see.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Let's see. Can you hear me, Mr. Arias' video?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
All righty, well, I don't know what is happening here. Try clicking the link that's in the chat and see if that helps you come up. Bentley, get out. Go, you little monster. That's my dog. Oh, man. Maybe, Mr. Arias, can you maybe possibly try to come back up? I don't know if you're on a phone or if you're on an iPad or a computer. Maybe try a different one. Let's listen in again to what these people are saying on ABC.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Mr. Arias' video?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Okay,
me?
looks like you have sound. I can see the thing moving, but I don't know
Yeah, go
why
ahead.
it won't. I can't hear you.
Are you able
This
to hear
is
me
so
now?
bizarre. Let me go to my audio. Maybe I'm. This can't be right, but I'm just going to try this and see. Okay, can you try to speak now?
I am the very model of a modern Major General. I've introduced an animal,
I can
vegetable,
hear
and
you now.
mineral.
I think it's because of this. This is because once I undid the mic, now I can hear you. Very bizarre. I don't know why that is. I should be able to hear you either way, right? Anyways, anyways. So like I said, we were talking this evening rather, about the unfortunate, horrific situation that happened at Donald Trump's rally today. What are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely think it's a very unfortunate situation. Of course, it's never, anytime someone's life is truly threatened, it's it's a tragedy. I do, I'm also not necessarily a fan of um, Mr. Trump's political views, but I would never ever uh, let that, though our differences of opinions, dictate ever quantifying or justifying an attempt on a man's life. It's just unnecessary. I will say I don't know if I necessarily agree with your opinion regarding the mental illness statements. You're certainly entitled to your own opinions, but um, there's still a lot of information that's not known about um, this particular assailant who committed this act. So I do think until more is known, or more is at least revealed, uh, I'll withhold judgment. But if there is a history of mental illness with this individual, I think more what you're trying to say is that we can't just paintbrush the idea, the concept that, oh, people with mental illness are the only ones capable of committing these types of acts. At the same time, if this person is suffering with some type of mental illness, um, regardless of anything else, it's still a tragedy, and it's certainly even tragic to a degree for that individual if he's not healthy mentally, or if they're not healthy mentally. I'm not even certain if it is a he. So I do think there's aspects of that worth considering, if you're evaluating the mental health discussion portion of it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be tragic for everyone. I'm sure even this individual had loved ones, and so now it's a tragedy for them. Thankfully, for Trump, it does seem like he'll get through this with no, at least healthy and alive, which is obviously the most important thing. It is also incredibly tragic that it seems like there's an innocent bystander who also lost their life tonight. So that's also incredibly unfortunate. Still, as more details come to the forefront, I think we'll be able to formulate more specific opinions. But ultimately, there are two lives that are gone. Um, I would argue unneedlessly, and just pray for all of the families involved, including Trump and his family as well.
I agree. I think that it's beyond unfortunate. It's egregious. It's just like, what is wrong with people? I don't understand why people feel like because they disagree with someone. Because listen, I disagree with that man in every way that counts or that matters. But I would never resort to violent acts to unalive someone just because we disagree. It's beyond incomprehensible to me. And it's like, how do you go back? Where do you go from there? I know where I would personally go. I'm going to personally go and have prayer, right? I'm going to, do what I can to protect my family, my life, and all of those types of things, just reinforcing that this life is short and you don't know when it's going to be over. And then I guess as a human being and a citizen of this United States of America, you start voting against things or voting for things so that you can have, different outcomes. But I just think, I don't know, how do you reach people who are extremists? Like, how do you reach them? I always say to people, like, especially like during the election times or when there's an ism somewhere on the table, no matter which ism it is, racism, sexism, whatever, my most effective way to try to have a conversation with someone that I completely disagree with regarding something like an ism or misogyny or whatever is ask them, why do you feel that way? You know, people want to be heard. You have to disarm people with let me take my defense mechanism off the table, right? Let me take all of my bias and whatever. And I could completely disagree with you, but I still could ask you, well, why do you feel that way? And then when people feel like you're there to listen and they can be heard, even if you still completely disagree with them, you can have a conversation. And through time, you might be able to have them think about it. Doesn't mean you're going to change their mind. And sometimes you don't need to get them to need to pull them across to your side. And because sometimes that's never going to happen. But that's where I usually try to start when I have a complete disagreement with someone else about something that's important, like politics and how it impacts us, and sexism, racism, all of those other things. You won't get there by simply stonewalling them and telling them how wrong they are. Because what happens is, unfortunately, if you look at what psychology tells us, when you tell people they're wrong about something, they just become more indignant about it. It just, oh no, you're not going to tell them. That's what typically happens. But if you give them a chance to make them feel like they matter and whatever they're saying matters, then you have a better chance at possibly getting through to them on some level. Let's see. Let's listen back in. I don't know if I can, if you guys can hear this again. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to even. What is wrong with people? Okay, so let's just move on. What do you think? Have you heard any of the conspiracy theories that have started already online, Mr. Arias?
No, I haven't caught any of the conspiracy theory discussion or talk.
They are running wild already. It's, oh, well, what did I hear? It was something about he knew that this was coming. It was like a setup, and that's why he moved to the left or to the right. Or it's just, this is the other conspiracy theory is, oh, he did this. This was a setup. So that way he could secure empathy for, I guess, the 2024 election or whatever. 2020, I don't even know when the election, isn't that terrible? Because I'm just so in the mindset of ignorance is bliss. I just don't have the capacity right now to deal with the ignorance and the things that are going to be said during the rallies, during the presidential debates. It's so annoying, and I just don't have the capacity anymore at this moment. Doesn't mean I'm gone forever, but right now I just can't intake anymore. But these are some of the theories that are going on the internet. What do you think about those theories? That this is like something he did to, you know, garner some sort of empathy from the public or the voters.
I think people like to hear themselves talk or type or whatever. And I think people like to say things just to get reactions. And so, of course, there's going to be a segment of society that's going to react against, and also a segment of that's going to react in favor of. And I don't know if some of these other conspiracy theorists have their own social media panels or networks, but it's just I personally avoid or look past any of that the
Conspiracies.
garbage. Yeah,
Oh.
it's just garbage.
So Connie A says, please take time to research the party you support. Search for the truth and leave the plantation. Educate yourself with the truth. Okay, Connie. All right. I don't know which plantation she's talking about, but okay, girl. Yeah, I will say I did think this to myself. I didn't think this, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's this episode of Scandal where the president is running for president, but he's losing. He's basically losing in the polls because something tragic happened, and the vice president was able to, you know how they do on the news sometimes. They capture exactly what they want to have captured, and so they show her down at this church. I think the church had been was a target. Something happened and made the church explode. And so the vice president was there, you know, with the black stuff on her face, and she's just looking like she's in the mix and she's helping, and she's taking over the news. You know, she's taking on the media in every capacity when she's just the vice president. She's not the president. He's supposed to be dominating the news, right? And then I remember at some point during that episode, they were like, we're going to lose the election, you know? And then something happens to the president's son, where someone puts something on his skin and then he's unalive. And then it's like, oh, nope, we're going to win the election. And it's unfortunate because all of that is obviously fake from scandal. But I did think that to myself when I was like, did they do something? Like, is this intentional? Like, but I don't think that. I tend to think in logical, you know, terms. Can people set up a coup and whatever? Absolutely. It's been done before, but I don't think that's what this is. And I'm just kind of like, let's get the facts first before we decide to go down that, you know, black hole of a tunnel that can happen when you go down the conspiracy theories mindset. The other thing I wanted to talk really quickly about, another thing that I did see populate very quickly, is people's horrific responses or reactions to what has happened, right? So some of the comments I saw online was, well, I don't even want to repeat the things that I heard online because it's terrible, but it was kind of like things like, next, what's for dinner kind of thing. And I'm like, what is happening? This total disregard for this. At the end of the day, we don't have to agree with nothing that he does, right? Or that he is or what he stands for, none of that. But this total disregard for this person's life, at the end of the day, regardless if you like him or not, he's somebody's father. You know, he's somebody's dad, husband. He's someone's child. I don't get it. I will never rejoice in anyone's downfall. Like, I get it if someone's a vicious dictator or whatever. Even then, I'm still not going to rejoice in them passing away. But that doesn't mean that I can't work to try to, you know, make sure that person's no longer in power. But this idea that you're going to totally disregard this man's life is just, it's egregious to me in that thought process. And we have to raise our awareness about allowing people, like, it's like this idea of normalizing hate, you know, like, why are we normalizing hate speech? It's ridiculous. And I think I don't know how you police the internet, so to speak, but I know that there are countries that do it. In Dubai, they definitely police the internet. They don't let you go on there. You're not free to just type anything in there. And some people may look at that like, oh my God, they're infringing on our rights. But I'm like, listen, I feel a way about, you know, my nieces and nephews being able to access the internet and access things they should never be able to see. Not ever. People unaliving themselves on Facebook or the PORN word, like, they should never be able to see that until, you know. So all I'm saying is there's a place for having all of that free speech and a place to say, you know, I should be able to do and see whatever I want to. But then there's a dark side to it. There's a reason they have a place called the dark web. Now, I've never been on there, but there's a reason that it's called that. Everybody shouldn't have access to it. I don't think they have access in China too. But I think China's a communist. Y'all correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think they're a communist regime, and they can definitely control the input and output of information to their citizens, to the people in their country, so on and so forth. And I don't necessarily think that we should be controlled in that way, but I wonder how you strike a balance. Do you have any information or regard for that, Mr. Arias video, regarding like policing the internet?
I mean, I don't. You can't effectively police the internet. You know, people have to be intelligent. But as we start to see other technologies arise, like artificial intelligence and the ways to in generative AI and these ways to create images and audio and everything, I think things are just going to get far more out of hand. And the internet is just too big to police. So it's just not going to be a capacity to do that. I think people are just going to have to be educated, have to use common sense. And for those who either elect not to or simply cannot, um, we'll have to find ways to look past and get past, I think, ultimately those individuals.
I agree. I just don't know how we safeguard like our children and stuff like that from things like this. Um, and maybe there isn't a way, to be able to do it. It's just very sad that people have such a disregard for other people's lives. I wonder what the next few days hold. And I just kind of want to end on this. Where do you think we go from here? Like, what do you think we expect to see in the next few days?
I just think at the end of the day, ultimately, we just, again, we'll learn more as I think more information comes out, more things are revealed.
Mhm.
It's, we pray again for those families who have lost loved ones. Because in spite of anything else, the assailant, I'm sure, is loved by somebody, and there's hurt for them. Um, and if there is some level of mental illness that is involved, all we can do is just pray for them. While at least on the surface, everything looks okay for Mr. Trump as far as his recovery and everything goes. There may be some mental ailments, PTSD, some other things that may remain after this event for him. So, regardless again of political views or anything else, from just a humanistic standpoint, I do pray for him and I pray for his family. I pray for his loved ones. I know he still has a young son, and I can only imagine emotionally what that may be, how that may be impacting him as well. And in spite of the youth of the young one, there's other children he has, regardless of their age, that I'm certain this type of event has to have a traumatic impact on them. So just prayer for all of those who are involved and are impacted and affected. And we just hope that we can all unify and unite and move past this in spite of any political views.
I agree. I wanted to share this one last thing. I remember being in the airport. I feel like right before, this was during the political, not political election, but during the presidential election, before President Obama was elected. And I remember being in an airport. I was so much younger. That doesn't seem like that long ago, but I feel like maybe it was 2008 or something like that. So what was I, like 28 at the time? But anyways, I remember being in the airport, and if you've ever flown anywhere and you're waiting in the general waiting area where your gate is, there's typically some sort of, news or something that they have on the TV screens or on the monitors. And I remember, I don't know if it was CNN or wherever, that they were showing him, and they were showing President Obama, and this white guy stood up, and he said something to the effect of like, well, all we need to do, and I'm using specific words because we can't use it on YouTube, is just pow pow Barack Obama, the president. He wasn't the president yet, but he was just like, that's all we have to do, and then we can get someone else in office. And I just thought to myself, oh my God, it's the privilege of it all. At the time, I don't think I even used that word for that, but I was so disgusted. And I'm, at the time, I'm like I said, I'm like 27, 28 years old. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I'm thinking to myself, it's these audacities. How dare you think you can say some stuff like that? Sorry, I'm getting a message into my phone, but it's one of my life regrets, right? It's one of those life regrets where I'm like, I should have said something. But, the part of me that's logical says, this is an idiot. What kind of person would think that it would ever be okay to say that out loud? I don't care what you think. People, you will never know exactly what someone is thinking. You will never know that. So I can think whatever I want to think about this person and that person and whatever else, but that doesn't mean I have to say it. So he's free to think whatever he wants to think, but I'm just like, who raised you? Like, to think that it's okay. And clearly no one else said a word either. We all just kind of looking like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? But I wish to this day, I wish I would have said something. I wish I would have, I don't even know what I could have said, but like, it just was so ignorant and egregious. And I feel like, and this is wrong, but it is what it is, as a brown person and as a woman, brown woman in this world, don't even get me started on how we are the least protected people on planet Earth. But I think if I'd have said something to him, no matter what I would have said, he would have taken it out of context. He would have chosen to be obnoxious about it and be an asshole, for lack of a better word, about it. And I don't know that, I feel like I still would have been looked at as the bad guy, you know? And I think because we've gotten to a place in our society where we normalize idiotic, horrific statements being made under the cover of our First Amendment rights, that people just kind of like, well, whatever, you know, and we just can't do that. We can't. I think that type of rhetoric leads to things like this. It empowers or emboldens people to not only say whatever they feel like they think they want to say, regardless of the impact, but it also leads people to think. It's sort of like the January 6th thing. I don't know how many people remember that from, I think, a year or two ago. I think it was like 2 years ago that happened, where they ran up, people gathered after the rally. Maybe, I feel like it was more than 2 years ago. But anyways, they gathered and decided to go and try to, you know, take the Capitol. And it's just like, where do you get these audacities? Like, I just can't understand it. And to me, I feel like, I hate to say it this way, but I just feel like it's going to get worse. I feel like it's going to get worse because it's being normalized. It's being normalized. This type of behavior, whoever this person is that decided that they wanted to interrupt Mr. Trump's life, I don't think that person is the last person that's going to try it. I just, and I'm sad about that, because it's like, how do you ever have an outdoor, what is the right word? I want to say press release, but that's not the word. A rally. That's the word I'm looking for. How do you trust it? Do you have to put everything indoors now? You know, so everybody can go through a metal detector and whatever. It's just, anyways. Guys, thank you so much for any type of participation into this conversation online and otherwise. Please hit the like button. Like I said, again, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by my birthday next month. So if you guys could help me get there, please like, share, subscribe, hit all of my little buttons, and I will see you next time. But thank you so much for tuning in to Chanel's Reality. Have a good rest of your evening, guys. Bye. Oh, that's not what I meant to do.